Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to go through the process and some common caveats associated with assessing AS92004 using NCEA Auto. Specifically, we're going to talk about the process we go through when marking the assessment. First, I'll click the Login button, and I'll log in with my teacher account. I will then click the Home button, and I'll navigate to My Course. I will then click on the assessment quiz. This is the quiz that students should have taken when being assessed against AS92004. I'll click it, and there's a link here that says attempts. This is the number of students that have attempted your quiz. Click that link and scroll down, and you can see all of the students that have attempted this quiz. We can either review the attempt, or we can see this number over here, which indicates roughly what percentage of the test cases they passed. I'll click this to open it in a new tab, and I'll scroll down, and we can see their answer. We can see they did not pass our test cases, and we can see these test cases in grey are the ones that they were able to see during the assessment. All of these test cases in green are ones that they were not able to see. While we can see them, they could not. For example, we know their program did not work when just the number 99 was passed in. From here, we can scroll down and we can see we're recommending the student receive the achieved grade. However, we need to do some manual marking to ensure this is the case. This is where the teacher table comes in. Here are some common pitfalls and things to watch out for in the teacher table. While we try to assess everything we can, there are some things where we need a human confirmation. For example, contains two types of data stored in variables. On line 4, we see that they used an input function, which is likely going to store a string, but they may have cast it to a different type. Just double check they've not done that, and if they have, make sure they've got at least a different type of variable as well. The other parts where human intervention is required include documenting the program with comments. You need to check if these comments make sense in context of the question. You also need to check if they're using succinct and descriptive variable names that make sense in context of the question. Another area that can be quite confusing is using constant variables or derived values in place of literals to make the program flexible. So this means if the student did something like saying if user input is greater than 20, they would fail this aspect of the standard, and they should instead do something like this on line 5. We do our best to make this clear, but it can be quite frustrating for students, so it would be great to familiarize yourself with this aspect of the standard in particular. Now the big change is we now have evidence of every single version that the student wrote and the test cases they ran against it. So first my student just wrote one line and they ran a test case using the scratchpad. Then they wrote a bit more code and ran some tests. They wrote even more code and ran some tests. They wrote even more code and ran some more tests. And we can see each time they changed their code, they ran some tests. Please ensure that your students are running tests every time they change their code, or at least make a big enough change to justify running some more tests, because this is how we prove that evidence of testing and debugging. Now, once we've done that, we can save this as a PDF. We can send this off to moderation. So here's the generated PDF. We are currently working with a software engineering student to make this PDF a bit nicer, but for now, we could send this 3 pages of documentation off to NZQA to show how our student has met the criteria of the standard. Right, that's everything you need to know to mark the assessment. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy using NCEA Auto in 2025.